All right. Even though I just did the last part of this video, I got to do the introduction to the 2 or 3 little snippets that I'm putting together. Just a panoramic view of the roof. In good shape, thank God, because it would be pretty obvious if it wasn't. Anyways, rainy day here in New Brunswick for a change. Haha. So, looking at rims, tires, and so on, I ended up buying some 2012 GT rims. I got a good set off of a local guy with half-ass rubber. They're pretty good. The rubber will last a year or two. Won't be putting I hope to put 5,000 a year on this car. We'll see. But anyways, I got those for $450, and anybody who's bought rims and tires knows full well that you're a couple grand, right, for anything cool. One day I'd like to have welds, center lines, Magnum 500s, something on this, something with a dish. In the meantime, I got them spaced out with it looks like 1.5 inch spacer will be good. This guy's just sitting here. You can see it's just sitting on blocks. Yeah, I think it'll be out just a shade farther, which is good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a look. It'll work. I think it's going to look good, especially I cover the tape stripes at the end of this video, but once the side stripes and stuff are back on, it's going to tie in even better. But anyways, a video coming up is just what we're doing, what we're working on the motor. Obviously, got the rear end in, whole bunch of stuff, right? So just ticking along. So there's your intro to this one. We'll go from here. Just finished cleaning up the motor. It turned out all right. Not bad. I threw on the timing chain. I don't know if I'm going to do a cam in this thing or not. I don't need to. The cam that's in it is the equivalent of, well, CHO basically. You can see the condition of everything. Like the pistons are mint. Still got, let me sit down here. Still got crosshatch everywhere, if I can get it. It looks original. I don't think it's been apart. So pretty good shape. You can see where the rings stop there. I put on the new front sump oil pickup. Cleaned up the gasket surfaces. Cleaned up the front gasket surfaces. I gotta do the still gotta do the cleaned up good. Still gotta do the intake gasket surfaces, which is a messy shit hole to get at, but I'll do that. But yeah, it looks good. Very happy with it. Hoping this ends up being as good of a motor as it looks, because it looks pretty good. I don't know if that's going to focus, but yeah, you can still see the lines in the piston. It's pretty good overall. Hellishly good. Super happy with it. So I'll be back with a little more. Okay, so this are these rims. These guys are set at exactly 1.5 inches. So that's where it would be with 1.5 inch spacer on the good side. I'd say that's perfect, to be honest. That's the height, you know, no gas, no interior, no motor, nothing. It'll be maybe an inch lower ish. But yeah, I think that looks really good on there. That's on the good side. Well, more parts in today. I got my heater core. That's nice. Amazon special. Hopefully it'll last until I'm dead, because I don't want to take that friggin' dash out again. Look at that beautiful car. Yeah, we did get the rear end in, I guess. As we can, you can't really see it. I should get my light going. Hold on, I'm going to get my light going. Okay, light's going. I got some headers in, just shorties. They were advertised as 1.58" and 3" They're 1.5" and 2.5", which is fine for this motor anyway. They're for the 64.5 to 77, I think, or 78. Either way. I just mocked this one specifically up with a, just make sure it was going to clear. It will clear. That spark plug is just in a few threads by hand. It'll go in another 1/2 inch or so. So plenty of clearance, and there'll be more when it's in. I got some paint so I can paint the block up. But yeah, nice setup. I'm happy with those. I'm going to the front sump pan. It was originally a rear, obviously. So I'm not going to change the timing cover because the price of timing covers is ridiculous. So I got this, which is for a diesel Ford, which doesn't make a difference. This is an oil dipstick fitting that will go right about here on the side of the pan. Just seals with the O-rings. This bolt is not removable, so you kind of slide it through the hole and then add the second bolt. I'll pre-install it, but I'll mock the pan on, and then it should be back about here. Hold on a second, I'm going to pause you again and I'll show you how it should work. Okay, I got her here. I just threw the dipstick in it. Dipstick's going to be too long, blah blah, whatever. This is the truck, 1995 truck setup. So basically it'll go, I don't know, somewhere in there, and I want to utilize that. I think I'll utilize that support, but I'll probably cut it off about just up here. That finger ain't working. I need 2 hands to do this. So anyways, let me just, which finger is that? Can anybody tell me? There it is. Anyways, so I'll cut it about where the end of that finger is, right there. And then I'll shorten the dipstick, and then where it comes through in the end, which is probably a decent spot. That might be a little higher yet. But like I say, I want to utilize that. So I'll probably mark it according to that. That's bent on the end. As you can see, I'll straighten that in 1.2 seconds. And then I'll put my liters of oil in, whatever it takes. And then shorten the stick and put a couple scribe marks in for wherever they're supposed to be. Like, there's the inside of a valve cover on this thing. Pretty good, you know, for a freaking used motor. I took a gamble on it, and it's always a gamble, right, with these things. So these headers come with these angled, they're 2.5 inch, set up for 2.5 inch pipe, which is, again, right, this motor ain't a horsepower motor. So they're going to work. That guy will probably go on something like that. Lots of room between the motor and the firewall on these shits. You can see half the friggin' bell housing behind the friggin' motor on these. They sit so far ahead. And it's the same for the other side. It'll be, or how's it go? I would assume about like that. So, or, you know, somewhere in there anyway. Lots of clearance. I just wanted something that was going to do good. Like I said in my last video, I bought the Remflex gaskets. I don't want any header leaks up here. I'll check these headers for flatness. If they're off, I'll sand them on a flat surface or whatever, but they seem to be pretty square. I haven't checked them yet. They're square by eye, so they can't be too bad. So anyways, cool, right? Parts are coming. We'll keep plugging away, and I want to get that motor painted up. I'll probably pre-install the headers because I'm sure they'll clear the shock towers on this thing going in. I don't think it'll be an issue. I could install them after. I'll make that decision, but either way, I'd like to get the motor and the old transmission in. I got new front and rear seals for the transmission. I gotta buy parts as I got money, so I didn't buy a transmission filter and pan gasket yet, so I'll get that in time. But yeah, we're carrying on with assembly. I got my timing cover, and luckily that was a relatively new water pump on it, so I'll reuse it for now. And I got new idler pulleys and everything for the serpentine belt system and whatnot. That's those are 2012 GT rims. I think I covered that earlier in a video, but regardless, if not, that's what we're running. I think they'll be okay. So hold on just a sec. I'll get a light here and I shall return again. While we're up here getting the light, look at how beautiful this is. This is just incredible, man. Compared to where it was with, I'd say 4 new fender aprons, but it's really 3.5, as anybody who's watched knows, but still. And the cowl and stuff. Just unfriggin' believable, man. I am just tickled with this whole freaking car. She turned out really well. With the amount of horsepower that I'm putting into it, which amounts to, you know, nothing. You know, I guesstimate if I cam it, it may be 270, 280 at the crank. That's being pretty generous, likely. But anyways, regardless, I don't even know if I'll put subframe connectors in it at this juncture. We'll see. I do want to rebuild the 351 Cleveland at some point and probably throw it in, but for now. Anyways, I was gonna take a little boo underneath here at the rear end for you guys. There it is. Yeah. And springs, and I actually got 1 inch longer stainless shackles. If we can get a good view. There's a good view. Yeah, I went 1 inch longer, which raises the car by 1/2 inch. And you can see I didn't paint my traction bars. It was one of those pretty much out of money for the week. Because I do week to week, you know. Just like I did, you know, 30 years ago when I was a kid. But anyways, yeah. Didn't paint them yet, but I just went and got paint today, so now I'm literally gonna have to freaking tape every fucking inch around them off and spray them. I bought some good yellow paint. But the springs cleaned up good, everything's good, but as you can see, there's one U-bolt here and one U-bolt there. Because somebody, when he was ordering parts, was like, yeah, just need 2 U-bolts, 1 for each side. Well, wrong. 2 for each side would be accurate. And that is not accurate at 1. So, there you go, 8 inch that's gonna have to do. Again, just a cruiser. So, all right. I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying this part of the build because you know, it's basically, this stuff to me isn't even labor. This is nothing, right? The labor was you know, floors and fucking trunk and wheelhouses and everything else. And now that I've done all that, to be honest, I wouldn't be scared to do it again. You'll notice on the car as well, I pulled the side tape stripes off everywhere down the sides. Because when they put them on, it goes big, you know, up here it's really big. And then at the back, you can see here, it works its way to small. Whew, I'm going to get dizzy just watching this. But anyways, it goes big, small, 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 small. Well, they went big, small, smaller, like smaller on the door, bigger, and then smaller, or I don't know, or bigger, smaller, smaller. Either way, what it was the two pieces that were put on the two doors should have been on the opposite door. So, and they weren't really straight. So I left the fronts on because they look okay. Obviously I left the Mach 1 on. I'm not going to buy some, and they're cheap fucking graphics anyway, the ones that you buy. They're so fucking thin, it's retarded. So the intention is, I'm literally going to tape it off, tape the whole car off. I bought some correct, for the gap in between, I bought the correct thin masking tape for, you know, for painting cars and doing pinstripes and whatnot. I'm going to tape it all off. I'm going to get some argent silver and I'm going to paint those stripes and then, you know, let her dry up. It won't obviously be under the clear, which I don't even know if there is clear on this car, but either way, I can't tell by looking at it, but I think it's a one stage, but I just don't know. But anyways, it's just the same as putting stickers on, except, you know, probably twice as strong, and I don't have to worry about blasting it off with my power washer. So yeah, I'll tell you what, it's nice to see that back inside. The other thing I got to do, I guess, while we're chatting about it, it's hard to see, but the front pod is still bare metal. These cars from the factory had, I got new bolts and nuts in there as well. And obviously new bushings everywhere and whatnot. But anyways, these cars, the front pod on the rear end was painted that red primer stuff, that red epoxy or whatever it is, the red primer anyway. So just to keep it, you know, this car is far from original. and well, you know, it's mostly original-ish, but either way, just to keep it somewhat original, I'm going to paint that color. Likewise, the I forget what they're called. I'm not even going to try and think about it because I'll stand here going like I do in every video. But the supports that go between here and here on both sides, those there, you can see them right there. There's the end of one. But anyways, those guys. And for the front headlight buckets, the two sides, and the support brackets that go down here, there's a bunch of pieces that on these early Mustangs was called slop gray. And what it was is they literally took, I think, just about all the colors that they used each day or the previous day, or however they did it. I don't want to, it's a lot of this is speculation, but I've read about it. It's interesting-ish. And they just basically mixed it all together, and they always came up with this funky gray color. And I found on mine the gray was a little more, the stuff that I did find that was still original was a little more almost like a beigey gray. So, you know, however that worked out. So anyways, I will do those parts in the correct, it won't be a correct slop gray, but I'll do them in a kind of an off gray color just to give it that original quote unquote look. And yeah, either way, plugging along. Talk to you later.